cargo traffic on the lakes had dropped off so much that instead the city decided this area would better be used as a lakefront airport. This is known as Maitland Field from the late 20s into the mid-1950s. Now, by 1956, the airport had closed down, and that year the U.S. Army built a Nike missile base at what is now the north end of the island, or the north end of the festival park. The Nike missile was an anti-aircraft weapon. Those would have essentially been downtown Milwaukee's last line of defense against a potential Soviet long-range bomber attack on the city. And those missiles were down here and armed until the mid-1960s, some of the peak years of the Cold War. In the mid-60s, the missiles had become obsolete and were removed. And a couple years after that, this area was converted into the festival park. Summerfest appeared down here for the first time in 1970. The first ethnic festivals came down here in 1978 with Mexican Fiesta and Festa Italiana debuting that year. And now most weekends in the summertime there's something going on down here at the festival park. This piece of land we're going to go past right now, you see it sits just off the festival mainland. So the white footbridge connecting the two. This is another reclaimed feature. This area started out as just a little breakwater wall, really, that they built out here in the 80s to help with some soil erosion issues. And as the city ended up with excess dirt and fill for various projects, they kept dumping it down here until eventually it grew into this shape. Today it's known as Lakeshore State Park, designated as a state park in 2007. And we have been having a number of red fox sightings in the park here over the past couple of weeks. There are some families of red foxes that live here in the island, and I think it's some of this year's litter. It's the pretty young ones that we've been seeing here pretty regularly from the boat. We saw a couple of them on our noon tour, actually. I think there were people up here feeding them. Those foxes are very tame, very friendly with the people. Even the birds and other animals that live in the park. Those foxes, best as anyone can figure, live by scavenging the festival grounds after hours. So if you keep your eyes on the area where the rocks meet the grass, that's usually where we see those foxes. Tour, we saw a couple of just hanging around this picnic table here, so we'll catch them every time pass, but usually, over the past couple of weeks, been seeing them quite often out here.
There you go. Snapper. Actually, downstairs I've opened the windows now, so it's quite nice. I mean, I'm fine up here right now, but pretty nice.
All of us have better things to do right now because they're not out and about. But again, some surprising variety of wildlife here in the park. In addition to the foxes, you also find mink and woodchucks living in the park. We also had some coyote sightings out here. in recent years.
Maybe that's the thing that we saw. Very dark. Oh yeah.
So up ahead of us here at the south end of the festival park, you can see that big grass hill. That is the back end of the Marcus Amphitheater. That's the headlining venue for the festival grounds, where the big names play each night of Summerfest. One of the biggest concert venues in the area as well. They can fit about 25,000 people just on the other side of that hill. So we're approaching the Hone Bridge again. Now the bridge span, we passed beneath on the way out, and we'll head beneath again on the way back in. The bridge span was completed in 1972. However, during the process of building this bridge, the state shut down work on the larger freeway project the bridge was going to be a part of. So, by the time they finished building the bridge, there was nothing at either end to connect it to. And it stayed that way for 5 years before they finally came up with the money to complete those connecting ramps and actually use the thing. The bridge done in the tied arch style. It actually won a bridge building award from the National Engineering Society in 1975 before it had ever been used by traffic. Also, if you remember the film The Blues Brothers, the connecting ramp that would have led to the bridge was used in that movie in the scene where the Bluesmobile goes flying off the end of an unfinished freeway. That was actually right next to downtown Milwaukee. It was about a mile and a half section of that road missing that would have connected the bridge to the freeway that had been shut down. Of course, this is all completed now. The bridge doing some work up there, so they've got some lane closures, but when it's at full capacity, the bridge will serve about 20,000 cars every day. And again, we can get a look at the continuing dredging project here. If you notice the barge that they're loading that mud and fill material into is sitting quite a bit lower in the water than it was when we headed out. We saw on our last tour, we saw them actually bringing in or moving out a full barge, and got to see an empty barge sitting next to the crane. And the difference in how much of that barge will be beneath water when it's empty to when it's full is about 10 to 12 feet. So they load these things pretty heavy. And even right now, there's, as it's sitting now, probably about 7 or 8 feet of that barge beneath the water line.